He said root beer. Not running root beer.
You root beer right now? Who else is root beer?
I'm a root beer guy.
You root beer?
I know, right? When you talking to your adults or
I got it.
Everybody?
All right. Get y'all together. I'm gonna get y'all together. I got you. Hold on. All right. Who like? I know she just on the cusp. So, all right. So, who likes? I would say like I think it's a strawberry. Strawberry. You like strawberry? Alright, who likes regular honey? Regular honey.
You want to honey? You can have some.
Is there another flavor?
Give that to
Regular honey.
there's cinnamon. You take cinnamon? I like cinnamon. What you got?
Honey. The box.
I think it's honey too. It might be. Why not? I don't know. Don't blame me. I didn't mark it down. You want the lemon? Alright, don't blame me. I'll put it in the tray. Take another one. That's regular honey. You can't go wrong with that. I think. What you want? I don't have lemon. I wish they had some. You already got one. That's the right one. That's all they want. What you got? Strawberry?
He's not one of the root beer.
What you got? You having so
Look.
okay, so the reason
There's a reason why you gave it to me.
there's a reason why I'm giving you this, right? Okay. You didn't say anything. Speak up. Closed mouth don't get fed. Alright, so there's the reason why I gave you this. Alright, so there's two reasons. There's two reasons. One of the reasons why I gave you this has to do with there's a tradition that went around before scriptures were given out that they would give the children honey to remind them of the scripts because how sweet it is. Now somebody can read,
Come on, I'm gonna try to
bring out Psalms 119, 103, and then I need somebody to read Ezekiel chapter 3 from 1 to 3.
I got Ezekiel.
All right. Who got Psalms?
Ezekiel.
Tehilliym.
I'll read it. 911 backwards.
119, verse 103.
I got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Whenever you're ready, I'll tell you.
Okay. Tehilliym 19.
Can everybody hear?
119, 103. Tehilliym 119, verse 103. How sweet are your words unto my taste, yea, sweeter than honey to my mouth.
Hallelujah.
Let's get the next one.
Moreover, he said unto me, Son of Adam, eat that you find, eat this roll, and go and speak unto the house of Yasharel. So I opened my mouth, and he caused me to eat that roll. And he said unto me, Son of Adam, cause your belly to eat, fill your bowels with this roll that I give you. Then did I eat, and it was in my mouth as honey for sweetness.
Sweet. So as we are about to dive into some spiritual food right now, I want this to remind you of how sweet his words is. Okay? Hallelujah. And we understand with this, with Brother Narto, when he brought out I always love it when you pray, bro. I'll tell you that. He said a prayer that was like, it was, I want to say you and Elia, yeah, y'all like neck and neck. But he said some prayers in the men's meeting at one time, boy, made me want to go out and start street teaching.
That's right.
I feel like one of the things that I would say to my Yaladins, if somebody loves you, how do they show it? If they love you, a friend, a family, it's a question. Thank you, Yali. I appreciate it. Huh? They hug. Okay. Okay, a hug. Hug could be a sign of love, yeah? Yeah, I can give you that. Let's see what I got.
Goodie bag.
Got you some. Here, I got you a snickerdoodle. There you go. That could be something, a sign. I got you. Wait, I got you. So that could be something that could be a sign. There's another sign that I would say that would be deep is what he did is prayer. You understand? Like you can get a hug, but that hug does do something to you. Scientifically proven that hugs do something to you. Yeah. But a prayer can do something even special. Because as our Father has done something special in us, he can turn so many things around in our life through that power of the word. So it brings me to my next question. What is the most important part of your body? Your mind? That's good. Mind is good. Let me see. There you go. What about you?
The heart.
The heart? I say the heart. Yeah. That's good. What you got?
I would say speak up. Your mouth.
Your mouth.
Your mouth.
Your mouth. Why would you say your mouth?
Well, your mouth, so you can speak and you can bless people. Come on. You can give them blessings.
Yeah.
Or if need be, it will tell you curses.
Y'all thought I catch those? That one hand.
Speak up. I can't hear you.
I would say the tongue because you can speak right or you can speak wrong and you can speak blessings or you can
All right.
Right.
Tongue.
He said that.
hands.
Your hands.
But that's good.
Your hands. Why?
Good.
Because you can pray for people.
Because you can pray for people.
Oh, that's perfect.
I know. I'm sorry, yeah. Listen.
The most important part, right, of your body?
Yeah, that you feel is the most important part.
I would say your eyes.
Why?
Because we use our eyes daily, and the lust of the eyes is very difficult to control.
Come on, Yelly. Get it. She gave y'all that work.
What part?
Because if you talk to you, he can talk to you with me here.
So she said your ear so you can hear Yahuwah.
You wouldn't be able to catch me hungry.
Anybody? What you got?
Your feet so you can walk in the way of the Lord.
He said the feet. He said so your feet don't lead the path of righteousness.
I'm like, any sneakers, Lord?
It was honey? No. That's root beer. That's root beer.
It's important to share y'all with these. It's important.
What you got? Nope. This is not?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Something.
Come on, Shantae.
Look.
Got some.
The eyes.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah. Pay attention.
And how it goes? Alright. Well, so like,
How about the heart?
Somebody said head. Somebody said mine.
That was the first one.
so you got feet, mind, eyes, heart. We pretty much covered the whole body, right? And we did, somebody said the soul.
Yeah, somebody said so earlier.
Yeah, somebody said.
I can't give it to Okay. Can somebody get 1 Corinthians chapter 12? I want Ellie to get this one. Chapter 12, verse 12 through 22.
It's right here. Oh,
He ain't got the urge in his stomach, right?
you had an urge in your stomach. all those goodies.
He said, I gotta work something out.
I got it.
He said 1 Corinthians.
12, verse 12 to 22.
All right.
I'm good from that.
For as the body is one and has many members, and all the members of that one body, being many, are one body,
Yeah.
so also is Mashiach.
Yeah.
For by one Ruach we were all baptized into one body, whether we be Yahudim or the other nations, whether we be bond or free, and have been made to drink into one Ruach. For the body is not one member, but many.
Okay, so let's listen on that part. For the body is not just one, but many. So we are many.
That's right.
You understand? It's not just one of us. As you would see, like, normally it would just be one person that is always speaking, and it's the same person, right? But as we switch, it's going to be different, because everybody, whether you from the eye to the live, right? Because that's our vision,
Walking to his thing.
is that we are making sure that we are walking in obedience,
That's right.
right?
To this Torah.
What you got?
So when you look at this aspect and you see this, how this one body is made up of many parts, one of the things to consider and to think about is we're a part of those many parts.
Yeah.
We make up a piece of Yasharel. We make up a piece of the remnant that will be saved. And so when I read this and when I read this and I think about what we came out of in religiosity, whether that be Christianity, no religion, because no religion still is a religion because you serve himself. Just want to put that out there. So, but it's easy. It can become easy to look down on other people because of what we've learned and what we've attained. But when you say I'm just a piece of this bigger picture, you won't put yourself higher. You won't be puffed up. We're just a piece that supports the larger body.
I'm gonna land back off of this, all right? In other words, just saying we're still a body within the larger set of another body. That's it. We're still a body. And last time I checked, the pinky toe You don't want to lose.
Woo! Pinky toe.
You need it.
You stomp your pinky toe, your whole body knows.
Anybody ever done that? You never knew how bad you needed it? You was like, I'll never Yeah, I'll never take you for granted, I swear, I promise.
Never.
Continue on that.
Verse 15. If the foot shall say, because I am not the hand, I am not of the body, is it therefore not of the body? And if the ear shall say, because I am not the eye, I am not of the body, is it therefore not of the body? If the whole body were an eye, where would the hearing?
Yeah.
If the whole were hearing, where would the smelling? But now has Elohim set the members, every one of them in the body, as it has pleased him.
Yes.
And if they were all one member, where were the body? But now are they many members, yet but one body. And the eye cannot say unto the hand, I have no need of you, nor again the head to the feet, I have no need of you. Nay, but much more those members of the body, which seem to be more feeble, are necessary. And those members of the body, which we think to be less honorable, upon these we bestow more abundant honor, and our uncomely parts have more abundant comeliness. For our comely parts have no need, but Elohim has tempered the body together, having given more abundant honor to the part which lacked, that there should be no schism in the body, but that the members should have the same care one for another. And whether one member suffer, all the members suffers with it. Or one member be honored, all members rejoice with it. Now ye are the body of Mashiach, and members in particular. And Elohim has set some in the assembly, first apostles, secondarily prophets, thirdly teachers, after that miracles, then gifts of healings, helps, governments, diversity of tongues.
Okay. Let me ask y'all a question. And this goes to anybody that has brothers and sisters. Say if I go in on you, does that hurt you? Would it hurt you if I went in on your sister? Or if I hit your sister? Would you feel hurt?
Oh, she lay hands on you.
You'll put hands on me. Right? Now, if somebody put hands on that's your little sister, right? And that's your little sister, right? Does it hurt you when they cry? It does, right? And if you lose them, would it hurt even more? Because it feels like you lost a piece of you. Right? So that's like how it is when we lose certain members of this household or our brothers and sisters.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. See?
It hurts. You know? It hurts. It doesn't matter if you are close to them or if you're trying to get close to them because you want them to make it into the kingdom. It hurts. So, as this vision, does any of y'all know the vision? Does anybody? Right, I'm not gonna say anybody, but any of y'all know the vision? Like it's offhand, besides Jordan. Come on, Jordan. Do you know it? Do you know it?
Take a second to make sure I remember it.
Do obedience together, in Torah together.
Keep trying.
Come on, you
All
are.
right, we are learning to walk in Torah. We are learning to walk in obedience to the Torah together, building in Ahava and Anva.
From the
From the Av to the Yalad.
Should have the children help out. I like to see that. Hold on, the adults. Let the children help out. Help out for real.
Get a
You
lifeline.
hear me, y'all?
Say it one more time.
Yeah, phone drum.
You hear? Go ahead. There you go, Jeremy.
And we walked up with you a bit before.
That's the
That's
There you
what
go.
That's right.
Come on with it.
When I think of that, I think from the odd to the yalad. From the odd to the yalad. When I think of that, it makes me think of the Father in heaven. You know, and He's all the way from our Father in heaven who created our elect, those who are in the last child that He knows is going to make it into the kingdom. Will that be us? I don't know.
So,
We can hope, right? We can pray that will be us. That we will be at least one of the elect. To be at least what? A doorman, right? A post, watch or something.
And then we put the flow on the inside.
Right. Now, when you have a young child, right? What do you do when that young child starts walking, or actually when they start crawling, or beginning to sit up? What do you do to prepare them before you put them on the floor for that? I want Yaladeen to ask this question. Answer. I'm sorry, answer, my bad. My bad. Are you paying attention? I said, if you have a young child, a baby, right, and it starts to sit up or crawl, what do you do before you place that child down on the floor?
Make sure there's no.
What you got?
Make sure that they don't fall.
Make sure they don't fall. That's good. What you got?
You would prepare probably the floor, so like if they fall, they probably wouldn't hurt themselves.
Evie, what you got? Say again? It's okay to fall, not crying, get back up. What about if they're crawling? If they were crawling, what would you do if they just started crawling? Go ahead.
I don't know. Maybe if they just started falling, just in case they're on the floor, put a pillow.
My bad.
Put a pillow beneath them, just in case they like fall down on the floor. Sometimes they overreact and just cry and you don't want to hear.
So what you got?
So what I thought is that we should make kind of like to protect them when they fall down, and whenever like they grow up, so that way just in case they get out of the tree, they'll have a place like a checkpoint to go back to the tree, so that way they can remember who the young was.
Man, you was getting deep. You heard what he said? You heard what he said? No. Say it again. Speak up.
Alright, so what I said is that you would make something for it. You would make something for it to fall on, and just so that, so just in case it grows up and it gets out of the tree, it'll have like kind of like a checkpoint to go back to remember your
So if the baby starts crawling, normally what you'll do before setting them down is clear a path for them to kind of clear out all the obstacles.
Yeah. Yes. What? Say that again.
Clear what?
You clear a path, you clear all the obstacles out of their way so that they can't crawl without difficulty.
Okay. I like that one.
I would remove all sharp objects away from them so that they don't hit their head or they hurt themselves.
Okay.
I would just clear a whole room out. Because I know when a baby starts crawling, they don't follow whatever path you make. They make their own. And you don't want to do
That's good. Make sure like nothing that they can grab within their reach and put in their mouth. That like they'll see some first thing they'll grab it and eat it, put it in their mouth, and if we don't prepare for that, that could be very dangerous and end up very badly.
Hallelujah. All of y'all questions, all the answers are good.
I just want to, some of the things that was said, man, that kind of hit home.
Yeah.
So starting out with Abby, she talked about putting the barriers up. She was saying put the pillows down, so you know you're creating this barrier.
Yeah.
To Texas that says, hey, you're putting these barriers are the words that you're putting in, so that if you go outside of that barrier, you know what to come back to. I just like, man, that is some heavy stuff. This aspect of laying a foundation that protects.
So many jewels in those things. And everything, I feel like Roel hit on exactly where I was going with this. And that was to make sure that there's nothing on the floor where a child can reach and hurt themselves, or a pathway, right? To make sure the obstacle is clear. I like that one. And also to make sure that they're not putting things in their mouth.
That's what we
That
said.
I wanted, when a child puts something in their mouth, they can do what?
Choke.
Choke. Did you know that over 3,000 children yearly die from putting things in their mouths and choking? Now, how many of us can do the Heimlich maneuver? All right.
How many had to do it?
Wait, what'd you say?
The Heimlich. How many children can do it? You learn?
They actually changed the name of that because the guy Heimlich, there was a infringement about his name, so it's called the abdomen thrust.
So I feel like that's something that we can learn, like going forward. Especially since we have, I feel like that's something that we can learn going forward because we have younger children, right? And, you know, Amaziah just got a younger child.
Hallelujah!
We got young children that are in here that eat, and some of them want to eat fast. Some of them want to hurry up and run and eat. A lot of things that they do that we have to watch out for. But also within in that, we would also have to watch out for ourselves, young adults, adults, even elders, that we don't choke on our food as well. I'm talking about spiritually, I'm talking about physically. The physical part is that, like I told you with the young children, all right? And then as you have young adults, they're talking, laughing, and stuff, and get choked up. That's happened to me plenty of times before. Have you ever seen a person that is choking and didn't know that they were choking?
Trying to work it out.
Right? Has that ever happened to you?
Yes.
All right. So we understand that. That's happened to me. The one thing, when y'all answered those questions, the way that you answered, what is that showing a sign of? That's showing a sign of a good leader. Because as a good leader, we're supposed to do what? Make sure that the pathway is clear. Make sure that we are, as far as the babes, to make sure that we're taking care of them. To make sure that we know each and every one of them and what they're capable of doing and what could happen if we're not there. That's a good sign of a leader. Is what we got to make sure that we're showing. Because when we're giving this word, it's younger people, and I want to say younger minded, that don't know scripts. And they're babes in this walk, right? So as they're babes in this walk, they can get choked up off the word or choked up off of somebody else's doctrine, and it can cause them to die. All right? So, one thing dealing with young adults, from I want to say from the ages of 20 up to, let's say, 38, 39, you know. That's a good young adults.
I'm in that.
For those,
Who's you just regular life?
That's pretty.
I get it. It's a lot. So, but with that, when they're drinking, did you know that when you have two pipes in your throat, right? That's right. One for air, one for just for
Now just turn it toward the wall.
eating and water, of course, and goes down to your stomach, of course. So with those, did you know that when you get choked up, you can get brain damage and you can actually lose brain cells? Now, if you think about that, right, it causes you to lose brain cells. For those who get choked up off of the Torah, it causes them to lose what they knew, like they knew Yahuwah. So if they follow somebody else, or follow after a young man, a young girl, or one of these camp doctrines, it can cause them to lose what they had. And then if somebody else does something, it can cause them to lose faith in Yahuwah. So I have a story where I have a brother-in-law. And with my brother-in-law, he actually came to someone that was a sower of bad seed. Now, Yahuwah and I taught about seeds, very good lesson last Shabbat. With the bad seed that happened, it came to my brother-in-law becoming a deacon of the church. And when he became a deacon, he joined with other deacons, and they ended up going to the brother's house. And they went upstairs, and the wives were downstairs. And then they went into a room of the brother, and then they called my brother-in-law in. Hey, y'all come in here, come look at this. And they're all huddled around the TV. And when he got there, he looked in, and they were looking at Channel 99. And now you're talking about the squiggly version. You understand? So when they were doing that, it caused for the actions of these men to make him turn away from Yahuwah's word. It had nothing to do with what Yahuwah was saying in his book, but because of one person's action, it can ruin everybody else and what they see. You understand? That's how you can get choked up in these scripts. It can cause you to lose strength. It can cause you to say, forget it. Right?
Okay.
Go ahead.
A script, when you mentioned that a script came to me, I think we went through plenty of time. 2 Peter 3 and 16. Of course, it starts before that. But also as in his Sephirim, speaking in them of these writings, in which are some things hard to understand, which they are unlearned and unstable, pervert, as they do also the other scriptures unto their own destruction. So we get, like you said, choked up and go our separate ways. People interpret a certain way. And that's kind of what I got out of it. Sorry.
I got Matthew 13:22. That goes along with what you had said about the unfruitful seed and the choking of the word. Does somebody have that?
13:22.
Matthew 13:22.
I got it. So, Metiyahu, chapter 13, verse 22. He also that receives seed among the thorns is he that hears the word, and the care of this world and the deceitfulness of riches choke the word, and he becomes unfruitful.
So those people who care about this world, you have those that give out scripts, or they're in church, and they're like, I'm just going to wrap this up because I know the game started. You know, my light bill is about $2.5 million, so I know y'all can give about at least 100 today. I know y'all can't. I know y'all can't. People over in Africa are doing it all day. Their faith is big. So how are your pockets? Like, what's this about? It's all about money. It's all about sports. It's all about politicians. Stuff like that that has nothing to do with the Most High. In Genesis 1:29-30, the Most High was saying that he gives us fruit from yielding from the seed. And to you it will be meat. It will be food. Right? And there's a saying that goes, the closest one to you will hurt you. Now, is that a friend or is that family? Both. Both, right? It's both. Because we've had friends that make us cry and make us hurt, and then we're like, I'm not going to deal with them, I'm done. But then you always go back to them because you got a heart for that friend. That friend may not even be in the way. That friend may not even believe what you believe. But because you grew and made a friend with that person, then it hurts you when you don't have it. It hurts you when you lose your friends because they either believe different or they either done you wrong, but you pray that that person will get to know Yahuwah or at least get to repentance and come back to you, or come back to the Most High, so you and that friend can be on one accord, or you and that family can be able to share the experiences that you're experiencing. Right?
Yes.
So in Proverbs 18:24, that goes with that as far as the friend. Y'all could look it up. And it's there's something that I was going to bring out where it was regarding our daily actions as far as our life. Now, in our actions in our daily life, those at least have a little bit of faith in the scripts. Like I said, we get turned away. But it's the seeds that get planted in them. So, and the reason why is you have a lot of people that are watching this. Not even people who are outside, not even people that are really on the outside, but people that want to be close to you but don't care. So I have so-called associates, and they believe different. You know, I have friends that they talk about I'm spiritual. I have other friends that say that they believe in tarot cards, or they can read your future. You know, I had one friend who she said on her post, I wouldn't say friend, associate that I knew, that said I am. They had a post that said, "Yes, I'm a witch, and I don't care. I believe in manifesting everything into my own future." So now we have people who love the creation but don't love the creator. That doesn't make sense. I'm praying to my ancestors, so I'm going to pop some shrooms so the ancestors can show me where to go. So you worship in your ancestors, but you don't worship the person or the creator that created your ancestors for you to get to know them. Go ahead, Doc.
Not me. Not my words. Yahuwah said, you should not suffer a witch to live. That's not me. That's not my words. That came from Exodus 22, Shemot 22:18. Not me. Not my words. The words of Yahuwah.
Yeah. So even in school, when our children go to these school systems, how long are they with them compared to how long are they with you? They're getting influenced 8 hours of the day. Malcolm X said that you will be a fool to allow your enemies to teach your child. This system has been created to turn our children into their own Elohims. This system has been created to tell your child. I remember my son came home and it was almost like he was trying to buck the Most High. But he was trying to show me what they showed him. And I felt like, in my ruach, that he might have believed it a little bit. Because it said the history of, was it like the world or history of the way that America was made or something like that? And it brought in scriptures and how this man came in and this was fake and blah, 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 and this got debunked. And he was just like, they were really just rambling through it. But the main part about it was just showing you different colors. Because you know colors keep children alive. You got to be, like, I mean, y'all seen some of the YouTube videos your children watch? They're all, bam, hey, ah! You like,
What's going on?
They be chilling, doing something, and bam, it's like this. Like, what is this about? Like, why are you watching this? And they screaming and all this other extra stuff all day long. And I'm like, this is entertainment, I guess. So they know how to switch that and then turn it and then infiltrate your child's mind and let them know that, oh, this book that you're reading isn't real. It's made up. It's no longer, it's his story instead of our story, instead of our history. You understand? That's what it's got changed to. And they leave out all the antiquities that was there. They leave out everything that has been placed here before Christopher Columbus had came 400 years prior. This is stuff that gets left out. But yet, your child will believe in that before they believe in the Most High. But when you try to show them, they don't really care because it's the majority that is showing them. See, we're set apart for a reason, right? The Most High has us set apart for a reason. I don't know about you, but I don't like being a penguin and walking like a robot behind other people all day. That's not something that I do. What you got?
One of the things that I have a conversation with my dad, and we talk about different aspects of things that's going on in the world, and a lot of times it ends up with him saying, so you're saying all these other people who saw this and said this and say this, you're saying they're wrong and you're right. And it's crazy because that's the response that's given to most of us on some level. And they go, well, look, what you need to realize is that all these other people over here, they all can't be wrong. So you need to look like them. This is what we learn from school. You gotta get along to get along. You know what I'm saying? Or rather, you gotta go along to get along. You know, but the scriptures tell us to stop, to set yourself apart. It says that don't take on any other practices of the heathen, of the other nations. That he divides for us a way of life. When we say culture, when we start talking about biblical culture, I'm not even gonna say Hebrew culture, I'm gonna say biblical culture, but you're talking about his instructions that provide that way of life to which we call a culture. It's his instructions that breed the aspect of what we call culture. But the system is designed to tell us to break away. Even from the aspect, I know we talk about in my house about how my granddad was a minister, my great uncle was a minister, my grandmother was a minister. You have ministers throughout my people. And they taught us what was taught to them that was taught to their ancestors, my ancestors that were slaves. They taught us that same doctrine. They didn't realize that they were teaching us that same doctrine, but they taught us that same doctrine. So to be where we are now, where we recognize that, hold up, that was meant to keep chains on us. But the system itself is a system that's devised to keep us locked down. So the school aspect, the whole aspect of bullying you with the majority. This is what the majority is doing. Are you going to be different? The majority of the people are taking the vaccine. What about you? Look, all the elderly got this. You're the only one. All the sick people got this. You're the only one.
Yes, I was going to say, the allure and the glitz that is presented to our Yahweh about having their own opinion, having a right to have their say. I'm going to go to Isaiah 55, verse 7 through 11. It reads, let the wicked forsake his way, and the unrighteous man his thoughts. And let him return unto Yahweh, and he will have mercy upon him. And to our Yah, for he will abundantly pardon. For my thoughts are not your thoughts, neither your ways my ways, saith Yahweh. For as the heavens are higher than the earth, so are my ways higher than your ways. And my thoughts than your thoughts. For as the rain cometh down and the snow from heaven, and returneth not thither, but watereth the earth and maketh it bring forth and bud, that it may give seed to the sower and bread to the eater. So shall my word be that goeth forth out of my mouth. It shall not return to me void. It shall accomplish that which I please, and it shall prosper in the things whereto I sent it. So your thoughts and what you think is right don't even compare to the Most High.
No, not even close.
And what he's laid down for you is better than anything you could ever come up with.
I'd even venture to say, you don't even want to, y'all, if we had the opportunity to even peek in the mind of the Most High, just take a glimpse, like looking through them blinds.
Give up the ghost.
Yes, you probably would go, honestly, you would go crazy. I purely think all of the decisions he has to make, all of the people dying, all of the people that are becoming alive, all of the diseases, all of the things he has to sit up here and see and think about, names being made, all of that stuff that's going on, people crying out to him all the time, you would go crazy. You would lose it. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, his thoughts are way higher than I thought.
So in our prayer, we pray
And I caught it.
the submission of our minds to the ways of the Most High. To His word within us.
Yes. Yes.
A deeper understanding that what He has is perfection, always. No mistakes.
Right.
So a couple of things. The word that you just brought out, Shamar, you know, we were talking about seeds.
That's right.
And I think the reason why you brought the Yaladim forward is because you're trying to drive a message home to them. I'm going to give you a very good illustration. How many of you seen The Wizard of Oz? Yaladim, how many of y'all seen The Wizard of Oz? Everybody's seen The Wizard of Oz, right?
No. She hasn't.
Okay. Not everyone. Got it. The point is that I'm trying to get you to understand is that when Dorothy finally got to go see behind the curtain to find out that it was this man that was orchestrating everything,
Exactly.
then the illusion disappears. So when you're bringing in the school system and that this setup, this design is that I have your child for 8 hours a day and I get to influence their mind, and then they come home to you and you have your child because now you worked all day and you only have them for 3 hours a day. The child is going to somehow believe and equate that the school, the teacher, the system is smarter than the parent. I'll give you another example. Yesterday they were celebrating Randy Beamer leaving the station. News channel. Randy Beamer, 20 years, 30 years, whatever he left the time. Now people will trust Randy more than their own reasoning because Randy is the news. But Randy ain't the news. Randy just reads what's put in front of him. He's just a puppet.
He's the face.
He's the face that says go get the vaccine. Versus a person taking the time to do their own research, to go read for themselves, to educate themselves. And so I think what you're trying to do is tell the Yaladim, actually challenge them to go find out, go do the research for themselves to see if what we're saying with them be true. Because what we all discovered, all of us adults, we discovered that we've been lied to. Somebody's lying.
Somebody's lying.
Somebody's lying.
When you were talking about the lies, and you brought that up, I had a scripture that goes with that because in Jeremiah chapter 16, verse 19, it says, "O Yah, my strength and my fortress, and my refuge in the day of affliction, the Gentiles shall come unto thee from the ends of the earth, and shall say, Surely our fathers have inherited lies, vanity, and things wherein there is no profit."
So it's foolish ways, right? That they're putting in our children. Now we have a house that's divided, right? Because of this foolish ways. And what it does is you have this seed that produces foods, fruits, meats, and it feeds the heart, which causes the lips or actions that shows the Mishpacha their daily diet.
Whoa.
You understand? So let's go. What I want to go to is somebody can grab the rock. 37, 17 through 27. And this is where the seeds is, aka, when it goes into the ground, aka your body. And whether it be good, stony, wayside, but it's planted. And we know it's now it's The heart. The chapter is 37, and the verses 17 through 27. You got it? Go ahead, Shimon.
The countenance is a sign of changing of the heart. For many things appear, good and evil, life and death, but the tongue rules over them continually. There is one that is wise and teaches many, and yet is unprofitable to himself. There is one that shows wisdom in words and is hated. He shall be destitute of all food. For grace is not given him from Yahuwah, because he is deprived of all wisdom. Another is wise to himself, and the fruits of understanding are commendable in his mouth. A wise man instructs his people, and the fruits of his understanding fail not. A wise man shall be filled with blessings, and they shall see him, shall count him happy. The days of life of a man may be numbered, but the days of Yasharel are innumerable. A wise man shall inherit the glory among his people, and his name shall be perpetual. My son, prove your soul in your life, and see what is evil for it, and give not that unto it.
Matthew 12:34, please. Matthew 12:34. I'm going to read it now. We're going to go to the next one. Go to Matthew 4:14.
All generations of righteous, how can ye bringing evil, speak good things, for out of abundance of the heart does speak.
Yeah, just go for it. That's it. Good job. All right. So he was talking to the hypocrites, right? Those who are saying that they're doing something, but then they do the total opposite. And then they're calling those who get choked up. The Messiah said, you know, listen to them, but don't be like them, right? Don't walk into the way that they're walking.
Yep.
Right? All right. So if the seed is being planted, now we know that it's in the heart of man. Depending on what ground the heart is, will determine what brings forth out of the mouth. And if it is on good ground, then you have good fruit. Now, what's coming out of your mouth is good food to the Most High. But then we go to the stony and the wayside. So I need you to read Matthew. You got Netanyahu 4 and verse 14 through 17.
That it might be fulfilled which was spoken. That it might be fulfilled which was spoken by Yeshua the prophet, saying, the land of Zebulun and the land of Naphtali, by the way of the sea beyond the Jordan, Galilee of the other nations. The people which sat in darkness saw a great light, and to them which sat in the region of the shadow of death, light is sprung up. From that time, Yahushua began to preach and say, repent, for the kingdom of Yahuwah is at hand.
Okay. Let me see. I'm not sure I had that right. Because I might have that wrong. My bad. I might have did the wrong one. No. I'll give it to you right. I'm sorry. Alright. So this can also turn to those that are in the Torah, which decide to make a decision that isn't in the righteous way of Yah. And this would also be a form of man worship. When you look at somebody and you expect them, you put them on a pedestal and you expect them to do everything that's righteous, right? And lead you into that righteous area. And then once they turn or once they do something that is not of Yah, then all of a sudden it causes you to say, well then, if he's not doing it, then why should I do it? And then that's you man worshiping instead of worshiping the Most High. That's what we was called to do. So,
would that be like saying, what did the pastor say? What did the pastor say versus what does Yahuwah say? Would that be like that?
It would be something like that.
Okay.
It would also be, that would also go back to the garden to where Eve was started to worship the tree, right? Because she saw that it was good and pleasant for the eye, the fruit of it. So when she ate that fruit, it wasn't an actual fruit. She was eating the word that was produced by that tree. I'm going to show you how. So let's go. I want somebody to read Bereshit 2 and 9, because shortly after that, it starts to go to the blame game.
I got it.
Okay. So, I just have an idea of how, like, say someone is like, pretty much falling something, and the person is like a good person, and they're getting into like, a bad thing, and they're like, oh yeah, look here, look at, like pretty much, see this, you can do it, but you're like, no, I can't do it, and they're like, come on, you can do it, come on, and they're trying to push you into doing it, and pretty much you're like, well, maybe because you're being pressured by, that person that you love, and now they're being led toward you, that kind of pretty much
Situation. Yeah. And then you're not following the way of the Most High, you're following the way of man, right? Because you're trying to appease this man or this woman, or you're trying to appease this person for them because you don't want to lose them as a friend. It's almost like when someone comes up to you and they tell you something that is wrong when you're in school, or if we are out about and somebody's in like a barbershop or a beauty salon or in a store, and they say certain things to you, you don't want to offend them because of what you believe. Some people do that, right? Not all. Like I know Shamar don't do that. I know you don't do that.
That's right.
There's no compromise.
No compromise. What does the Torah say?
Because they're afraid. We've been put into a system that not only has us now locked indoors, where now we only socialize behind a screen.
Come on, Zone.
We can't even talk to people anymore because we get so nervous and scared. We're afraid of what people may think about us. But we can care less about those who actually think about us. You understand?
It's
facts. I said we're so concerned about those outside and what they think about us instead of being concerned about those who actually think about us.
Well, you said Bereshit chapter 2 and 9.
Yes, sir. Go ahead and get it for me, and then jump to 16 and 17 right after that.
Okay.
Same chapter.
And out of the ground made Yahuwah Elohim to grow every tree that is pleasant to the sight and good for food. The tree of life also in the midst of the garden, and the tree of knowledge of good and evil. And verse 16.
To 17.
And Yahuwah Elohim commanded the man, saying, of every tree of the garden you may eat, you may freely eat. But of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil you shall not eat of it. For in the day that you eat thereof, you shall surely die.
You shall surely die. So before you had a moral body, we couldn't die at all. We were in a place where we didn't need food to live because the food was the word that was coming from these trees that was yielded from a seed and was given to us for nourishment of our ruach, of our spirit, right? If you go Ezekiel 31, you don't have to read it, you can get it on your own time, but we'll tell you how every tree envied the tree of knowledge of good and evil. It was high, it had rivers that was flowing, it was giving it water. That was something that, when I say it wasn't actual trees, we're going to go to Mark 8:22. And this is when Yeshua healed the blind man.
Say Mark.
Mark 8:22.
8.
And then just when you read that, I want you to go to 24, whoever's got it. Jared, you got it?
Yep.
Go ahead.
And he came to Bethsaida, and they brought a blind man unto him, and besought him to touch him. And he took the blind man by the hand, and led him out of the town. And when he had spit on his hands, he put his hands upon him, and asked him if he saw aught. And he looked up and said, I see men as trees walking.
I see men as trees walking.
He said, "Oh, I did too much."
Read the next verse for me real quick.
After that, he put his hands again upon his eyes.
Put his hands on his eyes.
And he made him look up. And he was restored and saw every man clearly.
So this, he was seeing in a spiritual realm.
Yeah.
Right? We can see, yeah, I mean, we know that there's a spiritual realm because we know about what? Ghosts, spirits, people that has been recorded. You see this. A lot of children pull up stuff, scary ghost sightings and stuff like that.
Yep.
There's different energy. There's different frequencies. You understand? People are conjuring up deities, not knowing that you're conjuring up a certain spirit that never inhabited a body and is looking for a body to possess, so it can walk out some of the evil deeds that it hasn't done in a physical form.
I just want to take this moment to state to all the Yaladim, this is real. This is real. Don't play with it. Don't be curious. Because something can attach to you that you'll be dealing with long into your adult life, and you still trying to figure out how to break loose of it. Do not play with this. It's not fun, it's not funny, it's not a game. This is real.
There's people who have sleep paralysis. There's a documentary called Nightmare. I remember like yesterday, me and my son watched this documentary, but we watched trailers before you gotta watch trailers before you watch the movie, right?
Yeah.
So you're like, that ain't nothing. Boo, let's change. So we turned on this trailer. It was the first time me and him watched this trailer all the way to the end, and we was like, you want to watch this with the lights on? We're gonna watch this in the daytime. We're gonna save this for tomorrow. Turn the curtains, open them up, hit the lights, we'll watch it. Even after we watched it, one of the things that I like to do is I like to say, hey, while we're watching this, I point out stuff. Okay, why is this happening? Why is that happening? Relate it back to scripts. So when we was watching this, a lot of people, they would be in sleep paralysis. How many people know what sleep paralysis is? Right? Alright. When these hooded forms, it was 6 of them, came around on one side, 3 on one side, 3 on another side. And they all had the same story. One had one that was sitting on the chest. We get through with this. We? What?
There's sleep paralysis, they call them sleep paralysis demons.
Alright. So these demons, right, were around him. And one felt it where he felt like his chest was being crushed. And he felt like it was being squeezed. Another one couldn't get up, couldn't scream, felt like it was being pushed down. There was other one where they would see the hooded figure coming. And instead it was like 8 feet tall and they couldn't move. And they were like trying to scream and they couldn't scream. So all they had was their mind and what they said. And every last one of them said the same thing. They said a prayer that they knew when they were young. One hollered out in the blood of Yeshua, but they said Jesus. Another one hollered out a prayer that they knew when their grandma used to pray over them when they were younger and sick. And every last one of those demons disappeared. They woke up instantly. So these are people that were saying, I never believed in scripture. I never believed in none of that stuff. So why would this energy that has been on them be put away was because of the food that they were putting in their belly, in their mouth, and it was coming out and walking around and allowing other spirits, because you're attracting basically what you eat. You're going to attract that as you walk it out. You're going to attract those of like-minded, right? Right.
Did you just say that these were people that did not believe in the
They didn't
script?
believe in the script at
So
all.
these are like people that would go to like Shabbat or like Sunday service and they would hear the word, but they were like, nah, but when they got jammed up and hemmed up.
Oh,
that's
Jesus!
Yeah.
All day. I have people like that. I have a cousin that just actually, he had his dog got ran over. And it was a little dog. And this is the kind of guy who blames everybody. Hey, well, you know, if he didn't open up the door, well, my dog wouldn't have ran out if it wasn't for him, but he ran after his dog, like, get out of here. To tell her to go back home, the dog turned around, did a 180, and ran out in the street. Got ran over. Instantly, died. And what he said to me, this is a man who's a non-believer, said, I started praying as soon as that dog was there. In my head, all I could think about was, who was you praying to? Who are you praying to? If I lose a family member, but I don't believe in the Most High, then I can't say, hey, well, I know that they're watching over me, or they're around me.
That's right.
But why? If you die, you're dust in the wind, right? If you're a non-believer, it doesn't matter, right?
You know, when I was in El Paso, a lot of people like my brother and I, our younger brother and I, had a lot of discussions over, you know, the Most High and not. But when I was on my way back from El Paso to drive here, him and his girlfriend came to my car window and he was, fix this, I want to give you this angel to protect you. And I was like, I just keep you there. You know? And he was like, oh, well, he was glad because he really didn't want to get to me. But a lot of people are like that. They, you know,
Idol.
a lot of people, but the first thing they want you to do is pray for them when something's going on.
They be like, y'all hear you, so pray for me, please. Hey, God gonna hear you when you pray. And the only thing about that, and I tell people, I say, look, I ain't got no problem praying for you, but I don't want to pray a curse on you. So if you're not obeying the script, you probably don't want me to pray for you, because I'm going to pray that you be healed or your situation resolved as you obey His word. So when I come, if I come and lay hands on you, I pray that God heals you as you walk in obedience. So that's God's will.
So when I was talking about different dimensions, I was talking about reading Ephesians. That's a good book. Read that book. It'll tell you about the different dimensions. You can also, that's before you jump to Enoch, which will tell you about the different levels, right, of the heavens. Now, we have an understanding that the food that we can either be life or death, even unto ourselves. Can you give me Proverbs 18:21?
Death and life are in the power of the tongue, and they that love it shall eat the fruit of thereof.
So we understand that whatever you eat is obviously something that you like. Or you're a person that just likes to taste things, and you can tell that you're either going to like it or you're not. This is going to be something that's either good for your family to eat because you know the kind of food that they eat, or this is going to be something that they won't eat, so you choose not to give them that, right? So then I would say that there's certain foods that can actually kill you that if you eat it raw. Anybody know one?
Chicken.
Chicken, yeah, of course. Poultry. What?
Beef.
Beef, okay.
Certainly
No, you need to, bro.
Pork.
Man, you're not supposed to eat that.
There's a certain
That's not those abominations.
yeah, Japanese fish. There's puffer fish.
Hello, fish. Hey, it don't have fins though. I mean, it don't have scales, so that don't apply to us.
Birds.
I know, it's not scales. The puffer fish, egg, ooh.
Go ahead.
It's something.
Cashews, yes sir. You eat cashews raw in the wild, and you pick them out and you eat them, you can die.
Mushrooms.
There's certain mushrooms. Oysters.
It's not food.
Orchards.
Orchard water.
Urchin.
Y'all said that. What you got?
And if she ain't gonna wrestle that high enough, I'm gonna say snake.
Snake.
No, he didn't.
We're talking about something that you can cook, right?
An egg, a chicken egg.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Something like that. Something that you're literally gonna eat, not something that you just see out in the wild.
No, here you go. Darnell's.
Darnell's, most definitely. Alright? So we understand with certain mushrooms, did you know that tomatoes, the leaves of a tomato can get you sick and you can die from that? Yeah, it can give you an upset stomach, cramping, anxiety. Also, leaves from a potato. And the stems from
Yes,
that.
you cannot eat
You
them.
can't eat those, you will die. And green potatoes as well. You can die from that. These are just some things, just look it up, Google it. There are foods that can also heal you. And we all know that leafy greens can heal you.
Yes, leafy greens.
Cruciferous vegetables. And I can tell you about those, because that's what he's growing, right? That's what he got us getting into. Can give you sea moss, which has 102 nutrients.
Yeah.
Right? Young man, hey yo, young little left. Hey, what we doing? What we doing? Are we paying attention or are we talking? Get it together. 102 nutrients of your body, but your body requires 110. Just sea moss alone gives you 102. You understand? That's something that you can heal and take on a daily basis. Salmon, which has what? The omega-3s, right? You eat that. These are nutrients that you can get. You can just look all over and you can see nature and how it has the correlation of life and it also has death, right? There's studies in such diets as an alkaline diet that whatever goes into your mouth, it comes out and exuberates through the belly, because we all know that the disease starts in your stomach first. That's where it starts in your gut. So it's whatever you put in your mouth is what's going to cause you to get sick. Right? You understand me? So whatever you put into your mouth is going to cause you to get sick. So an unhealthy diet can cause the brain to age prematurely. It also slows down your thinking skills, your mood disorders like depression. So you wonder why you're always sad and upset and angry. Your mind is fogged up. You don't have a sober mind because of the food that you've been putting inside of your body, and you damaging your body, which can give you a long-term effect, which is choking, which can give you a long-term effect. Right? You're killing your body slowly, but you don't even know it.
Are y'all staying up with what he's saying?
Yes.
Y'all get it?
Yes.
What did he talk about in the garden? What did he say that they were eating on and they ended up choking and dying on? He said the word was snap. I just said it. He said the food was what?
The word.
Yeah, it was the word.
Okay.
And they got choked up on going to the one that they were told not to.
Yes.
Not to get doctrine from.
So
Yeah.
just keep that in mind.
Yeah.
Causing what you got?
Just out, cause I don't want to jump ahead if you already got it. You gonna pull something out of James?
James.
Yeah, see, all right, I'm good. I ain't gonna say nothing. I'm good. We good.
Yeah, I got you. You on fire today, huh? What you got?
Hey, so I just want to kind of add that because for me, I'm always tying things back to what separated us from creation, right? So when we got deceived based on what our hunger, right? Our need to consume something, right? And Doc, you hit on this. You know what I mean? Every word was originally meant for our perfect consumption, according to His perfect will, right?
That's right.
But for some reason, we got it in our heads that, we can consume a little bit of this, a little bit of that, it's not going to hurt me.
Oh, yeah.
And currently, the situation that we're dealing with is, number one, coming out of that system of lies and deception and into teaching the younger generation exactly what their surroundings are. Where you're just surrounded by all these things that you can just consume, and it's okay because everybody's doing it. Or if it's
you're gonna all die from something, so you might as well just do this or that.
You're absolutely right.
Tell you that spirit is really upon us.
That's real. I think that goes for all of us when we were younger. We thought we knew more than our parents.
Yep.
Every time. One thing that we didn't want to say, which I hated, and it vexed my spirit so bad, is when they were right. And I had to tell them. You don't have to tell them. And then someone would say, hey, I was right, right? I'm like, yeah. I was right. Yeah. I get it. I bet you listen to me next time. I bet you won't go do that. Yeah. You know? But as you get older, you start to humble yourself more. And then you'll call them, especially when you have children. And there's been times where I called my mama at like 2, 3 in the morning. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry for what I did to you. You had every right to whoop me. You know, I deserve all the stitches, the lumps. I deserved it all because I was bad. You know, I wasn't a child that knew anything about scripture. And I can count on this hand on how many times I've been to church with my mother. But my mother would always say, that's ugly. God don't like ugly. Don't do that. You got a lion bump on your tongue because that's what you do. Lying. You got a lion bump. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Just random stuff. I was like, I don't see. I look at the script now. I was like, where the lion bump at? Exactly. I'm Googling that lion bump. Like, I can't find it. What you got?
Whenever I went to church, I was like, oh, it's Sunday. I'm gonna go to a class where I'm the oldest. That means everyone's gonna ask me all these questions. When I was at church, I was like, oh, it's church. Yay, I can get away from home. When I was 5, I was like, finally, I can get out of this house. They're locking me up.
That's totally opposite of what I was doing. I was going to stay at home. Church is totally opposite. But that was good. Hallelujah for your
I'm pretty sure everyone can agree except for Abby for some reason. Because when I went to church, I usually think, why am I here? Can I stay home? Be in my bed. I didn't want to be messed with. I just wanted to be left alone at my house.
Oh yeah. There's times like that where being young, you think about stuff like, I wish that my parents didn't take me here. I wish that they didn't do this for me. How come my friends can do this but I can't? How come my cousins can do this but I can't? How come I'm living a certain way that I'm living? They got a nice house, they got this, and I'm like that. Why are they blessed? As you get older, you start to still think as a child. But 1 Corinthians 13 tells you, that you have to put childish things away, right? So you gotta be able to teach your Yavadeems the more important things, right? The stuff that's not material that comes with that. Because what comes with that lifestyle, that hurt, that pain, they don't see that behind that screen of what that person's going through when they are trying to watch this person, when they're doing makeup videos, when they're doing tutorials, when they're sitting there, that person's going through stuff if they don't get that many likes, if they don't get that many views. They're going through a lot of pain, and what it is that it's a person that's insecure. It's an inner security of that person that's not secure, that came from a hurt from a family, a hurt from a friend. This is stuff that we still go through today, dealing in our Mishpacha, that we have PTSD that has been damaged to us as children or even as adults, that we lash out at our spouse, we lash out at our siblings, we lash out at our friends.
And it's the expectation that your worth is measured by how many likes you get.
Oh yeah.
And your whole life is dependent upon that. If it doesn't happen for you, you're now in a depression. You now got to make more videos because you got to get those likes up, you got to get those followers, and it's so detached from reality because you don't know. 99% of those people, of course, your mama's gonna go like this stuff, but You don't know a great percentage of those people that you're putting your self-worth, your confidence, your security, your how you feel about yourself is dependent on someone you don't even know.
Someone who doesn't care about you. Someone who doesn't care about you.
One of the things that we see in as we're looking at the world through the guise of videos and Facebook and YouTube, and what happens is you go, well, they have this, or they're doing this, so I should be able to do that. But what we got to recognize is everyone brings their A-list to the TV.
Right.
Everyone brings their A-list. Ain't nobody bringing their C-list out. Ain't nobody telling you that last week they almost got kicked out their house. They'll show you the trip they made to Hawaii.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Ain't nobody telling you, they ain't telling you how the two outfits that they just showed you that look hot is the best thing they got and the only stuff that they got with no holes in it. Yeah. See, you don't get the B list and the C list and the Z list. Everyone shows the A list, and so now you go, oh, they have this wonderful, wonderful life. But then you see the comedians who are well known and considered superstars that kill themselves.
Yeah.
Who have everything in the world. I think about Robin Williams, who what many thought hilarious of all genres would have said, oh man, yeah, he's funny. Man, he must be a super happy guy because he's always making people laugh. Only if you heard about his life out from in front of the camera, they said it was one that was very depressed and very lonely. Like he was like he never saw in him what the world saw him as. So this thought process of the person I see on TV, their life is like this. You only know what they're presenting. When you go look on Facebook, you only know what they're presenting. They're giving you their A-list. They're giving you the best side of what they got going.
Oh yeah, the Instagram where you see those where it just has model, business entrepreneur, lashes by such and such. You know, they're not really doing nothing with themselves. What you got? Right? It's a filter. It's a filter. Right? Yeah. That's what you get. You get those filters. What you got?
So, me and my wife were doing what we call hammock time in the backyard. We talk about scriptures, stars, everything, right? Mm-hmm. We're talking about social media on what that system looks like and where it possibly came from, and why the first two icons we were given with Facebook. I mean, if you can go back a little bit further, the thumbs up, thumbs down. Yeah. What portion of entertainment, what system, or what nation does that actually come from? The gladiators, right? Colosseum.
Yeah, life or death. Yeah.
If you look deeper into history, you'll find that was just a big distraction for the entire capital of Rome to look the other way while Rome was conquering the rest of the world and doing what they're doing. So you got to think as yourself when you're getting on social media, as you are one of those gladiators on stage that is just waiting for another system to give you its approval or denial.
You're hitting on something because he put out a documentary, Elder, was a Childhood 2.0. And that is a great documentary for I would say for your Yaladeens to watch, for you and your Yaladeens to watch together if you haven't done that, which brought up the fact of with the social media rate and then the suicidal rate started to rise, and it went up even more due to that. And then that's why they started taking away lights and hearts. What you got?
And also, like, in some shows or some YouTube channels, they have, like, YouTubers or LP because what other people think. But we got better. YouTube channels, stuff like that. They take YouTubers or LPs because they're like, oh my gosh, all these people like them. But they just like what you do. They don't actually know that you're like, because if they were actually to meet you, they'd be like, can I have a hug? Like, no, I just met you.
Yeah. I totally agree where she's saying that they're making themselves their own Elohim when they're getting these views and likes. And if they see you in person, they're not going to treat you nice like how they would project themselves onto the views or onto the tube, right? This is where you have certain foods that make sure meat is like tender. You ever heard of what is it called, Wagyu? Is that what I'm saying right?
Yeah.
Wagyu meat. Now, with this meat, right? What do they do with this meat? Have you ever heard of this?
Condition it.
Right. They condition it, right? This is actually it gets brought up, nurtured, like in a way that no other meat has been, and it makes sure that it's tender. So when it gets killed, that meat is still tender all the way, because it doesn't even know when it's going to die, right? Now we know that those who are hunters, you know that when it happens, what happens to the meat when you if you shoot him and it chokes up on its own blood? What happens to the meat, Naruto? What you got? If you shoot, you gotta understand when you shoot, right? You gotta make sure you gotta shoot to kill when you hunt.
What happens when that animal knows it's gonna die?
When the animal knows it's gonna die, what happens to the meat?
It tenses up,
right? It's tough. It's tough. Then you got gamey meat, right? You know about that. So this meat that's being fed to us, right? Because ours is probably not no Wagyu. This is probably like something that's been fed off of GMO corn seeds.
For real.
We don't know exactly how it's being conditioned. It might be in a dark place, and it's lonely, it's sad, it's angry because it's always getting injected and poked. You know, it's got somebody next to him that probably keep barking and stinks. It's in its own feces too. You look at certain shows, Forks Over Knives. What's another one? What the Hell? Yeah, you know, you see that stuff made me be like, yeah, I'm not gonna eat it. You know, these things that you see in the condition of it, now you have the hormones that was in this animal is being inside of you and your children. The actual food that you eat, right? So when you're eating this food, then you start to project and take on the characteristics of this animal. So why are you lonely? Why are you upset? Now not only with that, you have food that's being put in the low economy neighborhoods or in certain sides of town where they have magnesium inside of your drink. What does magnesium do to you? Why was it a magnesium plant in Thailand and it was over 30,000 people there, and it was 5,000 people or 20,000 people that actually were committing crimes, were killing each other, were angry all the time, and had a bunch of assault cases. It was the magnesium that's being put in your malt liquors, that's being put in your drinks. What is being put into your mind now? Now that you have this GMO food, now you have this drink, now you have this doctrine, now it's killing you slowly. You wonder why we're killing each other slowly. Why it's so funny for us to kill each other with words. Yeah. It's cool, that's what we do. We joke around a lot so much with each other. And we're hurting each other because you don't know if that person really feels that way. You don't know how that person really is having a day or dealing with their family. But we're killing each other, and that's not of Yah. It's all good to joke once in a while, but not to where it's the expense of others.
Right. A good man out of the good treasure of his heart brings forth that which is good. An evil man out of the evil treasure of his heart brings forth that which is evil. For out of the abundance of the heart his mouth speaks. Lucas 6:45.
Now, with that we also have cartoons that are being illustrated and sneaking in their little signs. My wife had spoke to me about the backyardigans. Who knows about the backyardigans? You know about that? Yeah, see? We gotta know, sis. You gotta.
Is that the one with the cow?
Yeah.
Okay, she's on it, she's tracking. It was one about a volcano god. And they were chanting to invoke that volcano god. And this is real. This is like a real chantment that they did for deities regarding the volcano gods. And they were doing this on the Backyardigans cartoon. Wow. There was another one where it was Paw Patrol. Who knows about Paw Patrol? Right? You know what I'm saying? Paw Patrol. They have it to where these children, there was a guy that was looking on a birthday card. And in his hands, he caught it real quick. He had 666 as he was holding it up like this with the birthday card, doing that. And it was right here on his knuckles. And if you didn't catch it, then you would miss it. But the subliminals, right,
your mind
would caught it, right? Just like that movie, what's that movie with Will Smith? And he did a lot of subliminals. And he had like 55, it was like 55. You know what I'm talking about. All right. So it was a movie where he was basically betting against this other guy who was like a millionaire. And he had placed everybody in place for 55. He even had a sign that went by 55. In a song, there was a Chinese song, it was woo woo. Well, in Chinese, it was 55. That's what woo woo means. So subliminally, he didn't know that he was going to turn over and think 55. So when he asked him, I bet you the number that you're thinking, I bet you such and such number. And then he said, pick a number. The guy turned around and looked in the field. He had a guy out there specifically that wasn't even on the team, big guy with the number 55 in the back. He turns around, he's like, this gotta be a sign. So I'm gonna pick 55. And that's how they get you, with subliminal messages that you don't know, that when you're acting and you're going out, you're eating food that you don't even know. You're tasting this wicked world that you ain't even knowing that you're getting just off of the simple fact of what you're watching, what is being put in your ears from the music that they have. There's so many music about demons, demonic stuff that's been prayed over this, from Future to AC/DC to, I would say Alec Benjamin is what I put down. It's a bunch of people that put it in plain sight, and they talk about possessions and people that invoke them. And that's what they do, right?
The one, no, Kashi 6'9". The one that got
Yeah, right.
All right, so this also will cause you to have a disease, right? Because you're ingesting this and you're putting it in your body. Now, when you're a disease, you're going to be a walking disease. How many people want to be around a person that's got a disease?
Yeah, nobody.
You do? You? Nobody. Last time I checked, nobody wants to be around somebody. What you got?
Saying hands down, put them to death.
I think in the past we talked about the word disease. This ease. This ease. No shalom.
No, not at all. Remember, you are what you eat. And
food is medicine.
This is where a lot of people usually run the other way, but it's a negative thinking that gets us to get fed. And it's getting us fed in the same way that we start to turn just like them. So if you think for one instance, because you come here and you fellowship and your heart isn't in it, but when you go around others and it's a familiar spirit, they're going to latch on to you and you ain't going to turn them, they're going to turn you. They're going to sit there and make you feel uncomfortable. And if you just start talking about the word to them, then they start doing this, and it makes you feel a certain kind of way. So what do natural people do? Well, we don't have to talk about that. It's cool. I understand. You getting uncomfortable. Let's change subjects. What did you eat today? That's a there's people that get scared to talk about the Most High to people because then they get, talked about themselves. They get judged. But then they tell us what? You ain't supposed to judge.
Don't judge me.
Don't judge me. Right? But that's because that's what happens when you're getting fed what the world is giving you. And in acting in that part, you have to go to Amos 3:3, right? Amos 3:3, 1 Corinthians 15:33. And then if you follow that and backdoor it with Ezekiel 33:9, I'm not going to read it because we already taking up too much time. So just don't hang around those with that can kill you spiritually, mentally, and physically. Now there was a study that was done on plants. I want Amaziah to talk about this because there was 3 plants that were being done. Go ahead and speak on it.
Yeah, so you've probably heard this in the past, where you can actually speak to a plant, and the plant can have an effect on how much it grows, how it flourishes, the whole nine. So they did an experiment. I think it was Mythbusters. That's what it is. Mythbusters did an experiment, and they had the control one was the one that didn't hear any sound. The one that you had another one that heard nothing but like they played like negative words around it all the time, and then you had another one that they always gave positive words, positive connotation, And then the experiment ended up having a conclusion of whether you had the one that the plants that heard something good or bad, you still had a slight difference. But of course, the ones that were good actually grew a little bit more. But the one that was the control one, that heard nothing at all, did not grow, or it did not even flourish, or nothing.
Wow.
So the interesting part of that was you want to say something?
I would just.
So the interesting part of that is that is that it doesn't even matter per se how good or how bad, as long as you give some type of word to a plant. Now, you still need to do something positive. Still say something positive to a plant, because it's actually that's gonna be the best outcome. But the idea of just not doing anything, that is like indifference. We talked about this, I think, last week. Indifference, yeah, that is, and it goes right back to the scriptures.
Right.
Rather you be hot or you rather be cold. But that lukewarm stuff, I spew. You know what I'm saying? So yes.
So they did a similar study with water. So what they would same, I mean, it's the exact same thing. But they took the water and they spoke over it for, I think it was like a couple of weeks. And so after that, they froze it. So when they looked at the water under the microscope, all the water that had beautiful words spoken to it, or poetry or prayers, the crystalline shape that it had was spectacular. I mean, it looked like the snowflakes you see when we try to animate it. The one that got nothing looked like when you freeze ice. It's just straight up and down. There's nothing there. The one that got negative words looked like y'all remember the computer screens from like back in the 90s when it had the background and it would have the little flashes and they would go in zigzags? It looked like that. So when you consider that the majority of what is inside of us is water, think about how the words you speak to one another is going to affect one another.
Now, let's see, I'm gonna land back off of that. Let's think about those that have babies. I remember when my wife was going through stuff, I was nervous to get her upset or angry because I didn't want my child to have that, you know, to come out being angry, to come out being mad. So when she got mad, I tried to make sure I did stuff that wouldn't upset her, because I knew that was upsetting the child, so much so that when you saw like the 4G ultrasound, when she laughed, he laughed. It was literally like that. I saw it for myself. We was sitting there and like we had a joke. She was laughing and he was like that. I was like, yo, he's laughing when you laughing. Literally, he does everything that she does. Every emotion that she has, every anger, everything that you eat, you gotta understand that life that's in you can feel every emotion that you carry. And it's gonna come out as when the baby comes out. You know what I'm saying? What you got?
Just to tie in everything you were saying earlier and the example that Amagai and Eliyahu gave about the plants and how, you know, one, whether it was a positive, it had an effect, and negative had an effect, but the one that didn't get anything at all didn't really do anything, is that the way Yah sets the world, the way a creator creates the world, he has an order, and there is no in-between. Even for the people who say, well, I'm not going to pick a side, I don't know, so I'm just going to be in the middle. Yeah. But the reality is there isn't a middle. No. Because Yah said if you're lukewarm, it's going to switch you out. So whether you're saying, well, no, I'm not going to do this, I'm going to do that, the reality is, the fact is that you do pick a side. You either with Yah or you're on the other side. Yeah. There is no in between. Yeah. And so it's in everything that we do. It's in the water, it's in the plants, that we have a creator, and there isn't a Big Bang Theory. This isn't all an accident. It's just the way he sets it. And so I think it's beautiful that you can't even get away from it. You can just pick random experiments like they do with plants, and you still see the words he spoke in reality.
When y'all talk about there's either good or bad, it brought me back to when I worked at this car wash. This guy, he had a satch, and he had like a hat that was like the guy from Poltergeist, and it was weird. And I remember he came to me, and the guy that I was working with, because I was wiping down cars, and he looks and he says, okay, how much is it for a good tip? And I'm looking like $5. The guy next to me was real arrogant. He's like, 20. He was like, okay. If you do a good job on this side, I'll give you $20 tip. If you do a good job on this side, I'll give you $20 tip. But if it doesn't happen, then I'll take you, so okay, all right, good. And he walks off. And I was like, whoa, wait a minute. And he kept going. So he said it so quick that if you didn't catch it, that you would just agree to it. So then when he came back, he looked at the guy's side, he said, that's 30, it's 30, I got you, so okay. And then he goes to my side, and he goes, you did a good job, that's 30, I got you. So I said, no, I never agreed. He said, oh, okay, you're smart. He was like, you heard me. I said, what are you? What is that satch there? He said, okay, there's good, wicked. He said, there's good Wiccans, And he said, there are bad ones like me, or good warlocks and there's bad warlocks like me. He said, there's going to be a side that you have to pick. He said, you're either going to be on the good side or you're either going to be on the bad side. And he said, and I know me and you are going to see each other again in war. That's what he said. So that stuck out to me.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? That's something
That's story right away when he
So okay, so it's better for us to be in counsel of righteousness and righteousness.
Like, dang.
Counsel of righteousness, all right.
It's like, it's good to, what you got?
Yes, sir. And excuse me, to go along with the script you brought, it's Matthew 7, 17 and 18, and 19, and 20. All right, 17 through 20. Just read that along with what you brought out about the fruits, unless you want me to talk about it.
Go ahead.
Okay, so it just basically says, even so, every good tree bringeth forth good fruit, but a corrupt tree bringeth forth evil fruit. A good tree cannot bring forth evil fruit, neither can a corrupt tree bring forth good fruit. Every tree that bringeth not forth good fruit is hewn down and cast into the fire. And this is where you've always heard this last verse, wherefore by their fruits ye shall know them. And so I was the last part I was gonna say was that even with the plants that did grow, I would ask anybody in here, would you still eat the one that bad words were spoken over? And I think okay.
I don't think you would.
Yeah.
All right, so when I say it's good to be around those of good counsel and not be around those that act righteous, but then behind closed doors they talk about people, or like say like after Shabbat they go home and start talking about a different family, or they start going on the ground and then you hit like but you talk mess in your head, because remember your thoughts are also speaking. You're speaking. We understand that, right? So we understand that even in itself, and you still gonna put a light, but you're gonna talk about what this has to do with this dude. You know, you're gonna say certain things. In Tehilliym 1 through 6, I need somebody to grab that.
Yeah. Blessed is the man that walks not in the counsel of wicked, nor stands in the way of sinners, nor sits in the seat of the scornful. But his delight is in the Torah of Yahuwah, and his Torah he meditates day and night. And he shall be like a tree planted in the rivers of water that brings forth the fruit in his season. His leaf also shall not wither, and whatsoever he does shall prosper. The wicked are not so, but are like the chaff which the wind drives away. Therefore the wicked shall not stand in the judgment, nor the sinners in the assembly of the righteous. For Yahuwah knows the way of the righteous, but the way of the wicked shall perish.
So if you don't like a person, you come up to them and the very thing that you hate, but you let it pass and talk negative behind them to your closest friend, that's not a Yahuwah. You know what I'm saying? Those are those seeds that are going to be like wayside. You understand? That's what is going to put us to the other side of things. I want Chante, can you grab Proverbs 14 and 12?
It says, there's a way of life, that looks harmless and looking in and leads straight to death.
It leads straight to what?
Yeah.
There you go. It does. How you want it? All right. So, when people are sitting there, they're foolish, right? They think of their own self. They think that they know so much, or they know more than other people. And it's kind of exalting themselves. Where do we see this happen? Where does it play? Oh, on Mount Hermon. We see this also happen where at Hasatan, when what did he do? He exalted himself. He said it to himself, right? But he still said it. And he said that I will exalt myself as high as the Most High, so he will be above him, or just like him. So that's what we're doing, or that's what certain people do, which is a way of a fool, correct? So when you look at your family, you think about it real hard, and there are some people that have been hurt, like I said, by families and friends, and it's a lifelong hurt, and it's, like I said, it's like an internal disease, and it takes time to detox that internal disease. So when you have been eating this food and having this doctrine for how many years? You know what I'm saying? And how long do certain foods where it decays and it stays in our intestines? It's over 20 miles of intestines in our body. You understand? You're not going to clear that out over a week.
No.
You're not going to clear that out over a month. It's going to take a while to really get those parasites and that disgusting junk that's inside of you out. Right? So when you think about eating something bad for a while, you also deal with those that have PTSD and they're dealing with something that they dealt with even as a child or as an adult. And it takes us time to where at the same time we hold on to it, to those people that have been going through things and we want them to get over it. We hold on to it to where we want people to forgive us if we've done something quickly, but we can't forgive somebody else. Man, Yahushua said that how we should pray. And what was it? For those that, we pray for those that trespass against us, right? So we pray for those. And we have to forgive them, and we have to pray for those people. Because we can't judge them. That's not our position as far as the final judgment and what it's going to do. Right? The Most High is going to avenge.
May I speak on that aspect? So as to we want to keep the meat and get rid of the bone. We want to wash out the dirt of the system that was put before us. And this aspect of forgiving someone does not mean not holding them accountable to their actions.
Hallelujah.
When you love someone, you correct them. Parents, we love our children. How many of us let them walk around in disobedience and just let it ride? And we go, oh yeah, but I love you, so it's okay. That doesn't make sense. So, yes, we're called to forgive our brothers, our sisters. We're even called to forgive our enemies. But that's not to not hold them accountable to their actions.
That's right.
Because if I love you, I'm going to walk this out with you. I'm going to hold you accountable where you're at. Salah.
All right. So I understand that it's hard for us to forgive sometimes, right? In the same way I used to be the same way. I know it's bad, but if you are a person that did somebody wrong, or if you witness something being wrong with someone, and you're fine with them just being bad, then I mean that's on you. That's the way you feel. But I feel bad even when I hear stories about people and the stuff they're going through. As a child, I heard stories from young women being raped by their uncles or their mom's boyfriend, or being molested in a certain way, or being talked down to, same way as young men who grew up in a household full of women and was pretty much like lord over and told the man that he's not really a man, or he's going to be like the father who isn't there. You know, there's things that hurt someone to where they can't make certain decisions in their lifestyle due to this process that happened when they were young, and due to the food that they were given or force-fed as a child. And it results, and it comes out, and then it comes on to someone else who also has been damaged. And we're trying to sit here and piece together each other, but we haven't even pieced together ourselves. So sometimes a sorry will make it right, and sometimes taking responsibility for your actions when involved in the situation that was done to the person, even if it wasn't you, can go as far. The Messiah said that we should forgive those that trespass against us. And what does that mean to you? Let me see. Ayana, can you stand up? Real quick. You ain't got to say that. For those who don't know her, you sit down. For those who don't know her, or don't even know her name, you should try to get to know her. You should try to get to know who she is. Because if you know Yeshayahu, stand up, him more than you know her, that's a problem. Because we should know each other's family equally if we call each other family. prayer that you said, Naruto, was exactly what my lesson was about. My lesson is meats and Mishpacha. And for those who are lost, those who have been scattered, that are not here, but once was, or should be, we pray for them to come back because that's love, right? Ahava, right? Amba. Those are things that even if you don't talk to that brother, a text goes a mile, but a conversation can go even further. And even with that call, a voicemail can even go even further than that. So I'm not saying chase people, that's not what I'm saying at all. But at least that you exhausted everything to the measure to at least try on your end to do that, because that's what the Father has said, because our faith is going to heal like the multitudes from touching the hems of the Messiah's garment in Matthew 14, 35 and 36. And the Messiah said that I have feet that you know not, I have meat that you know not of. In Yehukanan 4, 32 through 34. And what meat, fruit, and food do you eat? So when I ask, what is the most important part of your body? To me, it was the mouth, because without the words, how can we spread the good news? How can we praise the Most High? How can we have the word if it wasn't him saying, let there be light, which is us, because we're supposed to be the light in Ephesians 3:22. And we are all an important part of the body of the Hamashiach, from the Ab to the Yalad. And that's all I got. Shalom.
Take 5 minutes. Take 5 minutes.